Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name's James Anderson. I'm the founding member of the Objective Governance Party because I firmly believe that what our country needs is objective governance. But objective governance is not just about the governance of the people. It's about the governance of our laws. I'd like to show you a few different perspectives of law from one person's point of view, my own. I'd like to start with the perspective of law from a child's point of view. We have all sorts of different laws in our country. We have child laws, we have civil laws, we have common laws, we have unwritten constitutional laws, we have this, that, and the next thing. We have lots of different kinds of laws. When I was 11 years old, I stood in front of a Scottish juvenile panel. My brother and I had skipped school for a whole year. I had filled in all of the forms needed for my mother to believe that my brother and I had gone into school for that year, between me being 10 years old and 11 years old. I understood the rules and regulations needed to fill in those forms, so my mother believed that my brother and I had been in school for a whole year when we had not. When I stood in front of this Scottish juvenile panel, I understood I was in trouble when, instead of referring to me as James Anderson, he referred to me as Mr. Anderson. I knew I had crossed the line, but I didn't quite understand which line. For the next few months, the torture and abuse I would go through in children's homes, that would last all the way till I was 16. But at the time, the first few months of torture and abuse and violence, severe violence, far more violence I had ever learned on the streets of Falkirk. A lot more violence. Adult violence. Violence given to us by trained professionals, working for the Church of Scotland, working for the social services at the time. We used to call them the cruelty men, until I got put into care. And then I understood what cruelty really was. It was run by people in care. These people were professionals at dishing out cruelty. But from a lawful point of view, as a child, I ran away from children's home, all of them, to get away from what they were doing to me in children's homes. And the very first time that they actually captured me, I sat in front of, first of all, the police officers, and they asked me, "Why have you run away?" So I told them, "They're torturing me. They're throwing me up and down stairwells. They're doing all sorts of nonsense. And I don't want that." So I run away. I would then tell the duty solicitor. And that would be it. It's over. Because whenever I would stand in the magistrate for running away from children's homes, none of what was going on in the children's homes would be mentioned in court. The solicitors knew what was going on, the police knew what was going on, the doctors knew what was going on, the staff in the care homes knew what was going on, the children in the care homes knew what was going on. So why didn't the law come in to protect me as a child? Where were common law? Where were criminal laws? Where was anybody to protect those children, myself included, in care, from being abused, tortured, battered, and all sorts? Where was the law? Because the law understood it was happening. I told the law. Thousands upon thousands of children over the last 50 years have told the law. They've told the lawyers, they've told the barristers, they've told the psychiatrists, they've told the psychologists, they've told the judges, they've even told the priests. So where is the law protecting these children then, now, or in the future. It's not there. The law is a fallacy. It's something for you to believe in until you actually have to get up and say, oi, where's my fucking rights for you not to do that to me? Then you see where the law is. It's not on your side. Because even if, and let's put down some common law here, we have got lots of people who believe in common law. So do I. But a belief in a principle means absolutely nothing in practicality. Because we have had lords, barons, baronesses, all sorts of really powerful, really intelligent, really rich people trying to take our politicians to court for the last 50 years to protect people under common law. And it's gotten nowhere. Why does it get nowhere? Because the law's rigged. Our own barons, the people you look up to, have been trying to stop our politicians ripping us off, and especially with the 1939 Cancer Act, since 1939, and they've got nowhere. So all of you little peasants who believe that common law is going to bail you out, no, it's not. We've been trying that for decades, and it hasn't worked. If it had worked, I wouldn't be here. You wouldn't be here. If the law worked, we wouldn't be here. So we have to make the law work. We have to make the law be the law to cover everybody, not just selectively. By the time I had got to 13, me running away from care homes was becoming a serious issue for the state. Because every time I run away from a care home, I had to feed myself. Which meant I went out and I'd steal anything that wasn't nailed down, so long as I could either eat it or wear it. I didn't want to collect it, because that wasn't the object of the exercise. The exercise was my survival. My survival from torture. And unless you've actually been tortured constantly, on a monthly, weekly, daily basis, don't tell me you know anything about torture. Until you've actually been inside the mind of a child who's gone through things like this, don't tell me anything about the law. Because your law didn't protect us. Neither did your religions. None of it protected those children. And they're still not protecting your children now, the ones in state care. What do you know about what's happening in state care right now? Nothing. Why? Because you don't care enough to look. What's happening to those children in state care who have all been banged up for a year, the same as you have? Do you know? What happened to the 100,000 children that our government in 2019 accepted that have gone missing? 10,000 of those have gone into grooming gangs. Our government have accepted this. They've all accepted it, but they're not doing anything about it. So where's the law for those children? Where are all your common laws, human rights laws, civil laws, all the rest of it? Where is the law? The law's a con. Unless a politician wants you to do something, then it becomes valid. You want a politician to do something? Not going to fucking happen. There is no law to stop them. It hasn't stopped them weltering away hundreds of billions of pounds into their friends' pockets. Where's the law? It didn't stop them putting us on lockdown and all of them going on walkabouts. Where was the law? It doesn't stop them abusing children. It doesn't stop them committing all these corruptions with the tax havens and all the rest of it. It doesn't stop them lying to us about the protests that have been going on in London, in Manchester, in Liverpool, in Bath, even in Bath. I was at one not so long ago. I've got the little video there. I even videoed it from my living room window. Where was that on our mainstream media? Where's the law to say that our mainstream media needs to stop lying to us? Where is the law? It's not. It's gone. So, by the time I'm standing in front of a magistrate at 13 years old for running away from children's homes, once again, I've told the police, I've told the psychiatrist, I've told the psychologist, I've told the lawyers, I've told everybody. But none of it is ever mentioned in court. I will be punished for what I have stolen to feed and clothe myself, but nobody will be punished for torturing me that made me run away in the first place. Logic? Where's the law? That's how the law is geared. It's geared against us. We are made to believe things like an unwritten constitution. I have never heard so much crap in all my life. How can you possibly have an unwritten constitution unless you're telepathic? It's bullshit. It's like the Magna Carta. For a couple of 100 years, your lords and your barons and your peers have been trying to take different successive governments and crowns to the court to make them honour the Magna Carta. And it hasn't. They've never been able to successfully complete a case. I myself wrote to the Queen demanding my right to due process and not to be destroyed before I stand in front of a jury of my peers. The Queen's Counsel itself wrote back to me and said, your right to due process is a political issue and royalty's not allowed to get involved in politics. Your Magna Carta is a scam. It was a scam when it was written, and it'll be a scam when it's ripped up. The same with your human rights, your civil rights, and all the other rights. They're a scam, or we wouldn't be here today. We would be in our utopia. Instead, we're kicking our arse trying to get out of their dystopia. Because we didn't pay attention. Because we let ourselves believe in common law, in human rights law. How has human rights law helped 300,000 people who have died indirectly and directly due to the policies of our own politicians? Our politicians made the law that said if your political policies harm or hurt or cause death to the population of our country, you are a terrorist. Universal credit has directly and indirectly caused the death of over 300,000 of our own people. Black people, white people, little yellow people, all sorts of fucking people. But you're all looking for the law to help you. How did it help those? Each one of those people had the right to life. Each one of those has a law that says they had the right to life. They're dead. How did the law help them? Common law, civil law, human rights law. How did any law help those people before they were dead? Because they are dead. You can't get past that. But you will. You'll look down at the ground. And that's wrong. Because that tells me you have a conscience. That you're actually looking at the ground tells me you have a conscience. And you need to stand up for that conscience. Because we need a new way of doing things. We need to be able to govern our laws so we don't get roped into common consent under common laws. It's bullshit. We need a House of Representatives made up of the people. 500 people taken from the electoral register so nobody can rig it randomly. And those people to sit in a House of Representatives and to govern our politicians and to govern the laws that govern us. We can't allow politicians to keep dictating laws. We can't allow them to keep using emergency powers to do what they want. Because then they'll just start creating emergencies to keep doing what they want. as they've done with this rebranded flu. There's a hell of a big difference between dying with a flu and dying of a flu. But our law won't stop the politicians from lying to you. They won't stop our politicians psychologically abusing you. They can just about stop Sainsbury's from psychologically abusing you, for Christ's sake, because they had to fine Sainsbury's a few years ago for using auto-suggestion on their customers. The law. By the time I was 15, the law had just about had enough of me. They had already sent me to detention centre twice. And in detention centre, they taught me exactly what the law means. The law is, if I've got a sword in my hand, you're fucked. Because you will do as you're told. And that's what they taught us in children's homes. He who has the bigger sword makes the bigger rules. And they forced that into us with cricket bats, with circuit training, with violence on levels that you could not perceive. Real violence. Not none of this Mickey Mouse shit you see on the television, where an American actor can take 7, 8, 9, 10 hours of bloody punishment and still stand up. You can't. You take about 15 minutes of it before you're half dead, and then you fall into unconsciousness, a little death. If you've been tortured enough times, you'll know what I mean with a little death. You die every time you go unconscious, and you hate yourself for waking up. Because when you wake up, you know you're going to go through it again. And you look for things like gods and laws to protect you, and they're fucking not there. And you're 15. And you're standing in court because the social worker tried to shoot you. And so I went out, and I stole a pile of guns, and I was going to kill the man. There's no question about that. Because he tried to shoot me. I was 15 fucking years old. What do you expect me to do? Accept that kind of shit? The law wasn't going to protect me. So who else was going to protect me? In the end, I got the possession of firearms and a few other things, rather than actually trying to kill the twat. But I got sent to Borstal for that. So where was the law protecting me before I had to get to the point of trying to shoot a social worker for shooting me? Now this is all public record. And I've already challenged our politicians over this. And I've already had to go and sit in front of the Fixated Threat Assessment Centre psychiatrist and prove that I'm not off my head. And I had to go through all of this with them. So I'm not telling you anything that's a lie. This is all provable. By the time I was 16, I understood exactly what the law was. And I understood who it benefited the most. And it certainly wasn't little people. We have to be able to govern our laws, so as our laws govern our politicians first. If we have honesty at the top of the pile, it will fall down, because punishment will start at the top of the pile. That's how justice works. Justice doesn't work if you're pandering to paedophiles. Justice doesn't work if you're ignoring Muslim grooming gangs. Justice doesn't work if you're ignoring Christian grooming gangs. Justice doesn't work if you're ignoring media grooming gangs and people like Savile, Channer and Smith. They may be out of the picture, but their successors are still doing the job. They're still supplying children. Where's the law? I find it really disheartening when people keep asking me to join this group or go to that meeting and all the rest of it about law. Because I challenged law to our politicians, to their face. And when I challenged the last politician about child abuse, I said to her, now I can prove this. I said to the woman, what are you going to do to stop child abuse in amongst the ranks of our Lord's representatives and peers? And she looked me right in the face and said, what do you expect me to do, Mr. Anderson? That is what the law is. It's a fallacy. She should have been able to go back into Parliament and get all of those people arrested, but she can't. As we've seen with the corruption over this pandemic, the police can't arrest these people. The law isn't real unless they want you to do something. And then it becomes very fucking real. Because then no matter what you do to protect yourself from them, you'll become the bad guy. And you'll stand in front of a magistrate, and you'll stand in front of a judge, and you'll stand in front of your psychiatrists and your psychologists. And you'll say, I want the law to protect me, when you're standing behind the fucking bars. It's a game. Their game, not yours. You know it's a game. I know it's a game. 300 and odd thousand of our people who are dead, they knew it was a game. Where was the law to protect all of this? Where is the law to protect you against what our politicians are doing to you now? You have had 15 months of psychological warfare concerning sticking a needle in you, and they still can't prove to you that it actually works, because you need a booster now for a virus that's got a survivability rate of 99.7%. Where's the law stopping this? A virus with a 99.97% survivability rate, and they're already banging you in with vaccines and boosters. Wow. Where's the law protecting your right to life? Where's the law protecting your children's right to life? Where is the law? Have a nice evening, people. Thank you for your time and your patience. And I do appreciate all of your input. And I'm sorry sometimes if I get a bit wound up about this, but I've been dealing with the law since I was 11. And I am not impressed. Because people should be the law. Not words, not papers, not judges. We should be the law. We should govern our laws. We should govern our politicians. We should govern ourselves. From a House of Representatives made up of the people. And then we can just arrest that lot. Or arrest them first. We just need to do something. But we need to do it together. On the same day. At the same time. That's how common law is supposed to work. All of us together. On the same day, at the same time, doing the same thing. And demanding arrests. All of us. That's how it works. If you try and do it in little groups, they just kill you off, quietly. They ban you, they call you a terrorist, yada yada yada. Law needs to be unified. We need to be unified people under one law, irrespective of what you think your race is, your colour is, your gender is, or whatever. One people, one country, under one set of laws. That's what law should be about. Nothing more.